and welcome back to the Blakey Spirit channel. Hope you all had an amazing weekend. Have you yet recovered from that Ryan Garcia shock upset over Devin Haney? I still haven't yet. Going to do a different video on that, probably coming out next week, but today focusing on the Karate Combat 45, I think it was, Karate Combat 45. Now unfortunately I couldn't watch this one live, so I didn't get quite the feel of the whole event that I normally do when you watch these things live. But it looked amazing, definitely looked like one of the bigger arenas they've done one of these in. Now normally obviously when I do these I go into the main event, but I'm going to talk about the co-main event first. Myrza-Bek Tebuev knocking out Luis Victor Rocha. I'm just going to go into that one first. But before I continue guys, make sure you smash that subscribe button. I haven't been great at the uploads lately, I know, but it'd be greatly appreciated. Like, subscribe as well, and my Instagram and my Twitter in the description too. Now let's get straight into it. So yes, Myrza-Bek Tebuev knocking out Luis Victor Rocha. It was another double champ fight. I just assumed that Tebuev was going to move up to lightweight because they've already had a fight up there when Rocha won. But no, Luis Victor Rocha was actually coming down to 135, which you don't really see often in combat sports. You don't really see when people move between weight classes, actually someone coming down. Very rare, especially at Luis Victor Rocha's age, like in his late 20s, early 30s. Like you just don't really see that often. It's much harder to do it. You know, when you're more grown up, you're physically more developed like that. So fair play for him to making the weight. But you know, and Myrza-Bek Tebuev, obviously, like I said, when they last fought, and Luis Victor Rocha won, that was at lightweight, I believe. And then since then, Myrza-Bek Tebuev actually moved back down to bantamweight. Felt like he's more comfortable there, and he just killed that division ever since. The knockout he did against Owen Chelmier to win the belt was fantastic. Spinning body kick, beautiful. And this time it was another knockout, but this time it was with his fist. It was just a simple 1-2, but the setup for it was fantastic. Obviously knew that Rocha was going to come forward. And we've seen Tebuev like adopt, I didn't really see it before the Chelmier fight, but in the Chelmier fight, and so in this one, adopt a bit more of a traditional boxing style approach, with hand tie in the air. Obviously both, him being a Shito Ryo practitioner and Rocha being Shotokan. Obviously the straight shots, when you got a hand tie up like that, your straight shots are obviously going to be a bit quicker than when you have your hands down lower than that. And yeah, it just really felt, you know, obviously just moved him around the pit. I actually thought he's thrown a couple of spinning leg kicks, same one he did with Chelmier, but didn't quite land the same. And then once Rocha was coming onto him again, obviously applying that pressure that Rocha does, and you just saw his moment. Just kept moving forward. Just timed him perfectly with a 1-2 in the first round as well. That is massive. That is massive. Luis Victor Rocha getting knocked out in the first round. Like, you know, I would expect that more from when he fought Edgar Scrivers than I would against Myrza-Bek Tebuev. But obviously, you know, that going down in weight, like how much that affects his punch resistance. You know, because I've seen Rocha take some big shots in the pit before, so maybe that was a big factor. But obviously he just didn't respect Tebuev's power, especially at that weight. Like he really was just putting the gas. And I know he fights a bit like that quite often, Rocha, but he was really just not really just going straight for Tebuev. And yeah, Tebuev just timed him brilliantly with that 1-2. That is one of, like, and you heard it from the commentators' reactions, like that was a brutal knockout, and thankfully he got up okay. But what I'm interested in knowing what the hell happens next, because obviously Rocha's still a champion at 150 and Tebuev's still a champion at 135. And I thought Tebuev's next fight, after Lopez's recent performance, would be against Jesus Lopez. Not this soon, I thought it'd be like in a month or so's time. But they put him in there with Rocha, he's knocked him out. So I'm fascinated to know what they're going to do next. I'm sure Rocha's not going to do that again, go down to 135. If they're going to do a trilogy, and you know, Tebuev might want to do it at 150 as well. You know, finish the trilogy with him having a shot at his belt rather than the other way around. And then he can bid to become the first double champ in Karate Combat. This double champ thing, they're still trying to find the first Karate Combat double champ. Still haven't found it yet. And I'm fascinated to know if they do another trilogy. That would be Roche's second trilogy in Karate Combat, obviously after he won the Strivers one. I'd love to see that, man, at 150. That to me, that's a big fight. Obviously they got a card in Brazil that could be the headliner. Rocha versus Tebuev 3 at 150. I don't see why the hell not. But then obviously we have the main event, Luke Rockhold versus Joe Schilling. Joe Schilling, I actually watched a bit more of him like after the initial reaction that I did when the main event was announced, and he is actually more legit than I thought. I'll admit I really didn't know that too much about him, but he's literally regarded as one of the greatest kickboxers America's ever produced. So Luke Rockhold was in there with no mug, and Luke Rockhold obviously recently leaving the UFC last year, and they went over to bare knuckle to fight Mike Perry, and he lost that. He actually been training in Dubai for a while, so not a last chance, but I think this fight meant a lot to him. He won't have many fights left in his career, so to go out on a win I think was really important for him. And he got the job done in the third round. I think it was a right hook, but it wasn't like it was like a Terence Crawford right hook. I remember when Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence last year, and that right hook from the southpaw stance, it's not like this, it's more like you turn your knuckles, and it's, I don't know, I'm surprised more fighters don't really do them. I guess maybe it hurts this part of your hand, but you can tell that I'm not very familiar with it, but just to drag down your knuckles like that, right on the chin, must hurt. I mean, any punch hurts, but that one must really hurt. And that really hurt Joe Schilling. He went down instantly after that, and he covered up. You know, and both these guys are really tired as well in the third round. Like, they're knackered. They both had their hands on their hips and on their heads at stage, so they're shattered. But you know, Joe Schilling, can't forget this. He landed a cracking shot at Luke Rockhold. That right hand, I think it was in the second round. I think it was, or maybe the end of the first, and he just cracked him. I mean, it was such a hard shot, and it broke Luke Rockhold's nose, and obviously blood was pouring out of his nose, very reminiscent of when Paulo Costa fought Luke Rockhold and he had all that blood over him. You know, he just absolutely cracked him. It was one of the hardest shots I've seen, you know, and for him, Luke Rockhold just not even get dropped by it, incredible. Like, because Joe Schilling, obviously, I think this fight was at 195, 190, he was at a catch rate. And yeah, like Joe, and although both these guys are big, but Joe Schilling just looked very, like, he looked broad, like all the way, like really like chunky, and you know, that must have at least dazed Rockhold for a bit, especially when he's at that stage of his career. So yeah, unbelievable win for Rockhold. You could see that it meant a lot to him, obviously, because I'm sure the past couple of years haven't been easy. So for him to get a big knockout like that against American kickboxing legend like Joe Schilling, that definitely meant a lot to him. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. Just want to do a quick reaction to the co-main and the main. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think's next for Myrza-Bek Tebuev? What do you think's next for Luis Victor Rocha? Do you think they should run it for the third time at 150 for Rocha's belt, this time for the lightweight belt, and maybe Tebuev can become the first KC double champ? Joe Schilling and Luke Rockhold, are we going to see them in again? Obviously, they're both in the twilight end of their career, so do you think we'll ever see them back in again in the pit? And if so, against who? Who do you think we're going to put Rockhold against? You know, we've seen Sam Alvey, a UFC vet, go after he won his first fight. He went straight into a title fight. Are we going to see that with Luke Rockhold? Maybe go for like the middleweight title. You know, we just don't know. Against Ross Levine, how mental would that be? But yeah, make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, socials in the description down below, and I'll see you in the next one.